Hi everyone. Today we're going to be talking about scales and the materials they're made out of. Some of my favorites, some of the pros and cons of each one. First off, on the cheap side, we have something like aluminum. So this is made out of aluminum. This is a Boger Kalashnikov, very famous knife. It's an automatic. It's a very cheap knife. As far as like getting into automatic knives, this is probably the first automatic knife you'll get, or a lot of people got. It's made out of aluminum, and I don't think it's DLC, which is diamond-like coating. I think that this is just painted. Now, this knife itself, I believe, is DLC. That is very abrasive resistant, that coating on the blade. So there's aluminum, right? That's going to be on your low-end knives. This is SLB ProTech, designed by Les George. Now, this has Ultim, which is a new material. Well, not new. This is an aircraft plastic, ultra lightweight, ultra strong. I like this color, and I think you can get some really good pictures of it. This is another automatic. This is a limited run. Now, there are more and more, like the Bear or Bexer, depending on how you pronounce it, from Tactile Knife, just came out with Ultim, and I think this is going to be a new fad. There's going to be a lot of Ultim coming out. I like Ultim. I like the way it looks. It's also obviously rust resistant. Moving on, we're going to talk about one of the most common, and that is G10. G10 can be customized with different prints on it, right? This is a baby banter. And also, I have here another Ultim bead. Now, usually I don't like lanyards, but this fits in my fifth pocket, and this kind of sticks out of my fifth pocket and makes it really easy to carry. So this is a backup carry for me. G10 is really nice because they can become customized. It's water resistant. It feels good in the hand. It usually has a ply material where you take off this top piece of plastic, which lends it a little bit of gription. Something like this. This is also G10, and you can see here, and this is quiet carry waypoint. You can see, not waypoint, drift, quiet carry drift. You can see here that it has this grip on it, and that's a ply. There's basically a tape when they make this, and this peel ply comes off, and it leaves a little bit of a texture. The quiet carry drift here is actually a very expensive knife, and this has LC200N steel in here, totally rust resistant. The Vanex is totally rust resistant, and the G10 is obviously rust resistant. So you can get G10 on an expensive knife, and this, I believe, is, 260, 250, something like that. Or you can get it on a much, much cheaper knife. This is another version of the G10, and this is a custom scale, obviously, right? I like this because you've got the spider sitting in the middle of his web. This is the Spyderco, Endura, kind of a large knife, but I like it as a work knife. In fact, the Endura, not necessarily this one, but the Endura was really like my first high-end knife that I ever bought for myself and started getting into it because it's just a great work knife for what I do. Moving up the scale, then we have something like this. This is micarta. This is an Andela, so size down from this Spyderco. Got some gunk on here because I've been using this. I need to clean that off. Feels really nice and kind of slick, and it takes the oils from your hands. You can also take this and you can add some mineral spirit food grade oil to it, and it'll bring out the color of some of them. I don't have a good example of that near me right now, but feels nice in the hand, comes in a lot of different colors. Basically impregnated material with resin and then carved out. And you can actually see, I don't know if you can see the layers, you can actually, on a good micarta, you can see the layers in here on the edges, right? You also have something called linen micarta. This is linen micarta here, and you can actually see the linen fabric in there, right? So this is a Demco AD 20.5 D2 steel. I like the way this looks a lot, and it comes out very saturate and nice in this color. Again, very smooth kind of texture, but this linen actually has just a little bit of gription to it. And if you don't have an 80-20.5, I highly suggest that you get one. They are very addictive and fun. Moving up the scale a little bit, this is another aluminum. I think I talked about aluminum over here. This is another ProTech. This is a automatic. This has Magna Cut steel. The aluminum is machined out here to look like fish scales. Some people don't like that. I do. And it almost looks like an integral because they've machined it in this way, right? So sometimes an integral basically means that the back of it is all one piece and you don't necessarily have spacers. So an example of a spacer would be like this, right? So just some overall profile, I mean, it's a fine material. It's not necessarily the high-end stuff, but you can do some cool milling on it. Makes the knife a little bit cheaper. Again, however, this is ProTech, so it is not cheap. And aluminum, I don't think is a cheap material. Like when I say cheap, I mean it's not like plastic. It's absolutely fine. This is high-grade aluminum. Moving on, this is titanium. Now, this is a Three Rivers Atom, and these scales were freaking expensive, honestly, and this is probably the most expensive kind of scale that you can get. It gives this knife a whole nother feel, and I'll say that in general, that titanium is heavier than these other things. G10 is lighter. This makes this knife really light, right? This adding titanium scales to this made it much heavier, but it also makes it feel a lot firmer in the hand, a lot more rigid, right? I've got other examples of titanium, and all of them really just make it. I mean, I'm just a really big fan of titanium. This is the Sleech Bowie. Not Sleech Bowie, sorry. That's another, same designer, different knife. This is the Spidey Chef. I just got this titanium knife. This is the Cormorant. And the other really cool thing about this, and I don't have an example right now, is that you can send these knives to places like Way of Knife, and they will customize for this, and they will color it for you and other things, and you can customize it. And I have done some customization of titanium, and it's fun and easy, and it's nice. And you can make your knife look, when it comes in plain titanium like this, any way that you want, or you can send it to a customizer, and they can make it look awesome. Finally, I think the last material I haven't mentioned is carbon. So this is fat carbon, and you can see how it's iridescent and it changes depending on the light catches it. And it's a better in person, honestly, than it is on film. But very cool material. This is a Spyderco Paramilitary 2. This fat carbon is called Jungle. You've also got more plain, just, everyday carbon fiber. I don't really have it more like this pattern right here. You can see the fiber right in there, right? So this is a high-end material, not as high-end as titanium, but I would say in general, you're gonna find it's a little bit more expensive than something like titanium, than G10 or aluminum. Linen micarta is kind of expensive, but a little bit cheaper than the other ones. Again, though, it has really cool patterns to it. So overall, these are some of the scale materials, or a majority of the scale materials you'll encounter in the knife world. I like them all. What is your favorite? I personally am leaning towards titanium right now. And it also depends on the use. If you're out sailing and you need a really waterproof knife, having a G10 handle with some gription on it on a sailboat is great. If you're just going around and you have a gentleman's carry and you're dressed up for work, having a nice titanium handle like this, I mean, it's just classy, right? If you're walking around the backyard and you're just cutting things up and you're cutting down your vegetable garden, then having something like linen is nice in the hand, feels great. And of course, having something made out of G10 like this is also good, just on a knife that's a fixed blade. you can make it conform to your hand. The ergonomics are always really good. So those are my thoughts. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are as well on this. So if you have a minute, leave a comment. I'd love for you to leave a like. And if you want to see more, subscribe. Thank you so much. This is Sharp Ends signing out.